Official figures show UK workers suffered the biggest fall in real pay for nearly 9 years as the cost of living squeeze tightened. The Office for National Statistics says regular pay, excluding bonuses, tumbled nearly 2% in the 3 months to February when taking soaring inflation into account, the steepest fall since 2013. And that basic pay is now falling noticeably in real terms. People can buy less for their money. Latest figures show that the cost of living is going up at its fastest rate for 30 years, with inflation over 6% in February. Chief Market Analyst at CMC Markets, Michael Hewson, says some sectors will be hit harder than others.
The cost of living squeeze is going to have an enormous impact, particularly on the services sector, which makes up around about 75 to 80% of UK economic output.
The inflation figures for March are due out on Wednesday and are forecast to show an even further rise, peaking at nearly 9% this autumn. The latest data from the Office for National Statistics marks the calm before the storm, ahead of increases in April's energy cap, council tax bills and national insurance contribution.
I think the likelihood is that Q2 is likely to be much more difficult than the first quarter of this year. And I think much will depend on how persistent inflationary pressure is likely to be over the course of the next 3 to 6 months.
The UK's economic forecasters, the Office for Budget Responsibility, recently warned that households will suffer the biggest fall in real incomes since records began in 1956. Hewson explains that economic growth and standards of living in the UK are influenced by global supply chains in countries that are dealing with instability.
I think much will depend on what Russia does next. I think if there is an escalation on their part, that's likely to make the various supply chain constraints that we're currently experiencing globally that much worse. And let's not forget what's happening in China right now. We may not think that it will affect us, but backlogs at Chinese ports will essentially drive up supply chain costs. So there is an impact there. It's not just about Russia and Ukraine. It's also about a slowdown in China caused by the lockdown in Shanghai, which is one of their main key export hubs, and it's likely to significantly impact the Chinese economy over the course of the rest of this year.
Eddie Aitken, NTD News.